The Oscars have a science fiction problem. Not a subtle one either. We're talking about a decades-long, completely consistent pattern of looking at some of the most imaginative, culturally enduring films ever made and going, nah, not for us. And look, I get it. Sci-fi is a tough sell for awards voters. It's got spaceships, aliens, weird concepts. It doesn't feel like serious cinema the way a period drama does. But here's the thing that drives me crazy. A lot of the films on this list aren't just great sci-fi movies. They're great movies, full stop. Films that people still talk about, still reference, still argue about. Films that outlasted the movies that actually won. So today we're going through 10 of them. Some you know, some you might not. But every one of them got either nothing from the Academy or so close to nothing it barely counts. I'm Bob, this is Sci-Fi Graveyard. Let's get into it. Number 10, Blade Runner, 1982. Okay, so here's the thing about Blade Runner. When it came out in 1982, nobody knew what to do with it. Critics were split. Audiences were confused. Harrison Ford had just done Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark, so everyone showed up expecting something fun and propulsive, and instead they got this slow, melancholy noir about synthetic humans and what it means to be alive. The studio panicked, slapped on a voiceover that Ford famously recorded while sounding as bored as humanly possible, bolted on a happy ending, and released it into the world. It kinda bombed, and the Oscars reflected that. 2 nominations, art direction and visual effects, and it won neither. Ridley Scott wasn't nominated for directing. Rutger Hauer's Tears in Rain monologue, one of the most genuinely stunning pieces of acting in any genre, didn't get a second glance. The visual effects loss went to E.T., which, fine, E.T. is a beloved movie, but E.T. itself got left out of Best Picture that same year, losing to Gandhi. So the Academy managed to snub 2 films at once with one decision. The director's cut came out in 1992, and then the final cut in 2007, and suddenly everyone could actually see what Blade Runner was supposed to be without the studio interference. By that point, it had already become one of the most influential films ever made. Its visual language, its themes, its aesthetic had spread everywhere. It's on every major greatest films list in existence. The Academy has never acknowledged any of this. No honorary recognition, no do-over. It just sits there as a monument to how badly you can misjudge something in the moment. Number 9, 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968. Stanley Kubrick spent years making this film. Years. He collaborated with Arthur C. Clarke on a story about human evolution, artificial intelligence, and what comes after us. Every single shot was obsessively designed. The zero-gravity scenes were figured out practically, a year before actual moon landing footage existed. HAL 9000 became one of cinema's most iconic characters, and he barely moves. He's just a camera lens and a calm voice systematically deciding to murder everyone. When it came out in 1968, some people walked out. Critics didn't know what to make of it. Roger Ebert, who later became one of its biggest champions, gave it 2.5 stars at the time. Oscar nominations, 4. Visual effects, art direction, original screenplay, and, here's the one, Kubrick was not nominated for Best Director. The man who made this film was not nominated for directing it. It won 1 award, Best Visual Effects. Best Picture that year went to Oliver, a musical about an orphan, which, again, fine, Oliver is a perfectly enjoyable film, but when you line them up against history, when you look at which film changed cinema and which one people have to Google to remember exists, the answer is pretty obvious. 2001 is now on essentially every greatest films ever made list. Film scholars write books about it, it gets taught in universities, and it won a single technical Oscar. Kubrick made Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut, and never won a competitive Oscar for directing. Not once. Number 8, Children of Men, 2006. I want you to think about a specific scene. There's a car, 4 people inside, one of them about to be killed, and the camera just stays in the car. It rotates 360 degrees around the interior while everything happens. No cut, no safety. You're just there, trapped in it with them. Alfonso Cuarón and cinematographer Emmanuel Lubezki pulled that off with a specially designed rig. and it's one of the most remarkable technical achievements in modern filmmaking. And that's just one scene. The third act has a battle sequence that runs nearly 7 unbroken minutes through active gunfire, explosions, and chaos. When the soldiers stop shooting because they see something impossible, something hopeful, you feel it land. The film is set in a near-future Britain where humanity has gone infertile. No births in 18 years. Civilization collapsing not from war or disaster, but from pure despair. It is not a comfortable watch, and that's kind of the point. 3 Oscar nominations: cinematography, editing, adapted screenplay. Won none of them. Cuarón wasn't nominated for directing. No Best Picture nomination. The Departed won that year, which was Scorsese finally getting his long-overdue award, so it was hard to begrudge. But Children of Men getting 3 nominations and 0 wins while not even landing a Best Picture slot is genuinely baffling. Cuarón eventually won Best Director for Gravity and again for Roma. The Academy came around. But Children of Men is, by most accounts, his best film, and they missed it completely. Number 7, Edge of Tomorrow, 2014. This movie got completely buried by its own marketing. Warner Brothers couldn't figure out how to sell it. The title confused people, the posters looked generic, and it underperformed at the box office despite critics loving it. By the time word of mouth kicked in, it was already leaving theaters. That's a shame, because Edge of Tomorrow is a genuinely excellent piece of filmmaking. Tom Cruise plays a military PR guy with 0 combat experience who gets thrown into an alien invasion and dies almost immediately. Then wakes up, does it again, dies, wakes up. The time loop structure could have been annoying or repetitive, but director Doug Liman made the smart choice to skip what we've already seen and focus on what changes. Every loop reveals something new. The pacing is relentless. Emily Blunt is the real standout, honestly. She plays a combat veteran who's been through this kind of thing before and has 0 patience for watching crews die and restart over and over. It's a physically demanding, emotionally layered performance in a movie that easily could have asked nothing of her. 0 Oscar nominations. Not for visual effects, not for the editing, which had to be meticulously constructed to make the loop structure work without losing the audience. Not for Blunt. Nothing. It's a cult classic now. Everyone who finds it loves it, and they're constantly frustrated that more people haven't seen it. A sequel has been stuck in development for years, but the Academy treated it like it didn't exist, which at this point seems to be a pattern. Number 6, Arrival, 2016. 8 nominations, including Best Picture. On paper, that sounds like a win. Sci-Fi getting that kind of recognition is genuinely rare. But here's how it actually played out. Amy Adams was not nominated for Best Actress. She played a linguist brought in to communicate with alien visitors, a character who is processing grief and trauma while simultaneously trying to prevent a global war, and who does most of it through quiet, understated work rather than big, dramatic moments. It's the kind of performance that's easy to undervalue because it doesn't announce itself. Adams had already been nominated 5 times without a win. This was the role. The Academy looked at it and said no. Denis Villeneuve wasn't nominated for directing either. He made one of the most patient, visually intelligent sci-fi films in years. The alien ships hovering in mist, the heptapods communicating through circular ink symbols, the whole film building toward a structural reveal that recontextualizes everything, and wasn't even on the ballot for Best Director. Arrival won 1 Oscar, Best Sound Editing. A film about the nature of communication and the way language shapes perception won a Sound Award and went home. Moonlight won Best Picture that year, which, look, Moonlight is a genuinely great film, and Barry Jenkins deserved everything he got. But the fact that Arrival was treated as the also-ran sci-fi entry, rather than as serious dramatic competition, speaks to exactly the kind of bias we're talking about. Number 5, Moon, 2009. Sam Rockwell is alone on screen for almost the entire runtime of this film. 1 character, 1 location, 1 story. A man finishing up a 3-year solo contract on a lunar mining base, counting down the days until he can go home. Then something happens. I'm not going to spoil it, but the film pivots in a way that forces Rockwell to play multiple versions of the same person simultaneously. One version is exhausted and vulnerable. Another is aggressive and paranoid. He makes both feel completely real and completely different. And he does it with almost no one else to play off of. It's an extraordinary piece of acting. Duncan Jones made this as his first feature film. He built practical sets, used miniatures for the lunar surface, and spent about $5 million total, which is nothing for a sci-fi film with this level of ambition. It looked like 10 times the budget. The Academy gave it 0 nominations. This was the same year they expanded the Best Picture field specifically to make room for more diverse choices. Moon wasn't in the conversation. Sam Rockwell wasn't mentioned for Best Actor. Rockwell won an Oscar years later for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which is fine, but comparing the two performances, the showy, written-for-awards work in 3 Billboards versus the quiet, physically demanding, technically remarkable work in Moon, the wrong one got recognized. And that's not a knock on 3 Billboards. Moon was just that good. Number 4. Dark City, 1998. February 1998. Alex Proyas releases Dark City, a noir sci-fi about a man who wakes up with no memory in a city that physically rearranges itself every night while the population sleeps. Buildings move, layouts shift, and sinister pale figures called the Strangers are controlling all of it, running experiments on the city's inhabitants to understand what makes humans human. 13 months later, The Matrix comes out. The similarities are not subtle. Both films are about a manufactured reality controlled by sinister beings. Both have a protagonist who awakens to the truth and develops abilities. Both are soaked in noir aesthetics. The Wachowskis literally used some of Dark City's sets for Matrix production, physically repurposed them. Whether the creative influence went deeper than that has been debated endlessly, but the visual and thematic overlap is undeniable. The Matrix won 4 Oscars and became one of the defining cultural artifacts of the late 90s. Dark City got 0 nominations and quietly disappeared from theaters. Roger Ebert named it the best film of 1998 and recorded a commentary track explaining its philosophical layers in extraordinary detail. He placed it alongside Metropolis and Blade Runner. Almost nobody listened at the time. The film has a cult following now, and if you show it to someone who's never seen it, the first thing they usually say is, "This is basically The Matrix," which is true, except it came first. Number 3. Annihilation, 2018. Alex Garland's Ex Machina won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects in 2016, so there was reason to think the Academy might pay attention when he followed it up with something even more ambitious. They did not. Annihilation follows 5 scientists entering the Shimmer, an expanding zone surrounding a crashed meteorite where the laws of biology stop working. Plants grow into human shapes. Animals absorb human DNA. The landscape is simultaneously gorgeous and wrong in a way the film captures exactly right. There's a scene with a bear that I'm not going to describe in detail because if you haven't seen it, you should experience it fresh. It is one of the most purely terrifying sequences in recent memory. Not because of gore or jump scares, but because of what the bear is doing with its voice. Natalie Portman is carrying the film as a biologist investigating what happened to her husband, the only survivor of a prior expedition who came back as a hollow, dying shell. It's a committed performance in a movie that asks a lot of its audience. Paramount got cold feet. Test screenings were divisive. Rather than stand behind the film, they gave it a theatrical release only in the US, Canada, and China, and sold international rights to Netflix. Awards campaigns need theatrical runs. Without them, you're invisible. The result? 0 Oscar nominations for the visual effects alone, which is almost inexplicable when you see what Garland's team created inside the Shimmer. The film has become one of the most discussed sci-fi releases of the decade. Garland has since made more films, but this one got buried before it got a chance. Number 2. Gattaca, 1997. There are no laser guns in Gattaca, no alien invasions. The most dangerous technology in the film is a DNA test. That's it. That's the weapon. Andrew Niccol built a near-future world where genetic engineering is normalized. Children are designed before birth for optimal health and intelligence. If you're conceived naturally, what the film calls an invalid, you're filtered out of the good jobs, the good schools, the good life, no matter how capable you actually are. Ethan Hawke plays Vincent, an invalid who dreams of going to space, and who gets there by assuming the genetic identity of a genetically superior man paralyzed in an accident. The film is quiet and precise, and genuinely unsettling in the way the best sci-fi is. Not because of anything outlandish, but because the world it depicts is so close to plausible. 1 Oscar nomination, Best Art Direction, Lost. Hawke, Uma Thurman, and Jude Law all overlooked. The screenplay, which handles genetic discrimination and class warfare with unusual intelligence, ignored. NASA has reportedly called Gattaca the most plausible and accurate depiction of a near-future society ever put on film. And as CRISPR becomes real, as conversations about designer babies move from hypothetical to actual ethical debate, Gattaca keeps looking less like fiction and more like a preview. The Academy had a chance to recognize something genuinely prophetic in 1997. They passed. Number 1. Snowpiercer, 2013. Bong Joon-ho made Parasite in 2019. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best International Feature Film. Historic sweep. The Academy loved it. 7 years earlier, they completely ignored Snowpiercer, which Bong made in 2013, and which has basically the same thematic DNA. Class stratification. The violence required to move upward in a system designed to keep you down. Dark humor used to punctuate genuine horror. The only difference is that Snowpiercer wraps all of it in a post-apocalyptic action film set on a train. The setup? A failed climate engineering experiment has frozen the planet. The only survivors are aboard a perpetually moving train circling the globe. The wealthy live in luxury at the front. The poor are crammed into squalor at the tail. Chris Evans' character organizes a revolt, and they fight car by car toward the engine. Each car they push through is a new layer of the class structure. Greenhouse, aquarium, school full of propaganda, increasingly obscene luxury the closer you get to the front. It's unsubtle and completely effective. Tilda Swinton plays a bureaucratic enforcer with fake teeth and total conviction, delivering speeches about knowing your place with the cheerful menace of someone who genuinely believes all of it. It's one of the best supporting performances of the decade. Harvey Weinstein held North American distribution rights and demanded Bong cut 20 minutes. Bong refused. Weinstein retaliated with a release on fewer than 300 screens. A wide release is 2,000 or more. The full film reached American audiences through streaming and VOD, where it became a massive hit. 0 Oscar nominations. A filmmaker who would later sweep the ceremony couldn't get a single nod because a distributor tried to gut his movie and then buried it when he wouldn't comply. That's the whole story. So what's the through line here? Because there definitely is one. It's not that these films were unknown. Most of them were critically praised. Several of them were commercially successful. The through line is that the Academy consistently treats science fiction as genre rather than film, as spectacle first and story second, regardless of the actual evidence in front of them. And here's the part that really gets me. Most of the films that beat these movies on Oscar night have faded. The ones on this list haven't. You can name Blade Runner scenes from memory. You can describe the ending of 2001. You know what the shimmer looks like, what the train in Snowpiercer represents, what the bear in Annihilation sounds like. The films the Academy forgot are the ones audiences never did. Maybe that changes eventually. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, these films don't need a statue to prove what they are. I'm Bob. This has been Sci-Fi Graveyard. Thanks for watching.